Alright guys, Scripted, we're here with another video. I had to address this on YouTube because I'm getting a lot of similar responses on YouTube to my Andor episode 7 to 9 review that I'm getting on Twitter, and it's something that needs to be said because what I'm noticing with this whole Andor situation and the comments is there's just a huge amount of people who are basing what they think about when it comes to Andor on Rebels. And so I'll explain it to you now. If you look at the comments, so just in case you didn't know, I have Twitter. You can go ScriptTrooper Twitter if you want to follow. There's a lot of people that are like not understanding what was going on in A New Hope, and they're basing their understanding on the retcons that have been done by Disney, starting with Dave Filoni in particular. He is the tip of the spear, folks, of the nonsense. You can say Kennedy all you want. But unfortunately, George Lucas trusted this guy, his storyboard artist, and his storyboard artist created all of these issues and stupidity and problems, not the least of which is the fact that Ahsoka's alive through the OT, correct? Do you all agree that that's pretty weird and dumb and doesn't make any sense? Okay, so a lot of these comments talk about Mon Mothma's speech. So here's the tweet. I said that her speech was completely pointless. She could have just kept quiet. It was completely stupid to do. And then I just got all this, she was fighting against fascism, even though every single senator in the room called her a traitor. No one cared when the Gorman senator got arrested. No one cares. So she's giving a speech knowing that no one cares. And she's doing it anyway. If she'd done it 2 years, 3 years before, yes, that makes sense. Then you might actually see something come to fruition. But she was too scared to do that and was too busy pimping her daughter off to get money for Luthen and for the rebellion. So she's just kind of stupid. Again, this whole show, if you watch my review of the last 3 episodes, it feels like everybody has to be stupid, including the Empire, everybody, to continue the plot. So here's what I'm saying, though. Everyone's talking about this grand speech and how it's going to unify the galaxy. I was thinking about it and thinking to myself, like, what are you talking about? Because... And this is where Dave Filoni is retconning. He already did with Rebels, and now they're continuing the retcon in Andor of George Lucas's original Star Wars. And so the reason this bugs me so much is not so much the retconning itself. It's just so brazen, and they're blatantly using that which was the foundation of it all to twist it and warp it to make content, to make money, instead of embracing what it actually was and making content based on that. Like, if you want to change what A New Hope actually is, go do something else. But they're doing it in such a way that's so obvious, and yet all of these young people are responding to my posts and freaking out, calling me an idiot, and I'm illiterate, and it's like, have you guys ever watched the original trilogy? Like, I have comments saying, haven't you watched Rebels? So here's the thing in Rebels. So in Rebels, Mon Mothma ends up on the Ghost ship with whatever those bunch of losers are, and she gives this big speech that apparently helps unify the galaxy for the rebellion. And then Gilroy couldn't help himself and wanted her to do a similar speech in the Senate, which makes no sense. Because right after she leaves, she goes to Andor's condo, right, the whatever on Coruscant, and then she separates from Andor, who saved her from, I guess, getting arrested, because, her speech was so great that she was just going to get arrested for any dissent is getting you arrested at this point. The Emperor runs everything. Anyways, so they separate, and then she's going to go off, and then they're going to probably do a live-action version of her stupid speech from the Ghost Ship. And then the one guy from Yavin was like, the guy from Andor, or whatever, the number 2 guy under Mothma or whatever, the Rebels, was like, oh, she needs to go. We need to have her say this speech to reach more people, even though her speech from the Senate was televised. Whatever, guys, I'm nitpicking. Anyways, so she's going to go to the Ghost Ship. It's a ship, and somehow it's going to get the signal further and out into the galaxy. I don't remember that happening in the OT, but anyways. So, here's the bottom line. I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about how ridiculous it is that there's this, like, the galaxy-wide inspiration from Mon Mothma. If you watch the original Star Wars movie, where did Luke want to go? Do you think that Luke's aunt and uncle are, like, pro-Empire? Probably not, right? They're probably not pro-Empire, right? And so where does Luke say he wants to go, and his uncle demands that he stays for another season on the farm? He wants to go and become a pilot for who? The Empire. Because guess what? That's all there is. There is nothing else, according to these people. Nobody knows about the rebels. No one knows. That's what I was saying. Did you guys watch this movie? There's a deleted scene with Luke and Biggs, and Biggs says the same thing. I'm going to go learn to be a pilot and fly for the Imperials or whatever, fly for the Empire. Like, that's what everybody assumed it was. The rebels in A New Hope are a small band. Leia sends a message specifically to Obi-Wan Kenobi. She doesn't send a message to the greater galactic alliance of rebels, and there's bases everywhere. Come help. She specifically targets Obi-Wan because there aren't very many options. There's not a lot out there. So what they're doing is they're making Mothma's character more than she ever could have been under George Lucas's Star Wars. She's cool, whatever. She's in Return of the Jedi. She has nothing to do with anything with this, other than in the prequels and the deleted scenes being pro kind of organizing some sort of a resistance. Okay? Furthermore, Tarkin and Vader both refer to the rebels as having a base. Right? They use the term the rebel base, singular, a couple times. When Tarkin is interrogating Leia, he's saying, name the military target, name the system, and I'll hit a military target and I won't blow up Alderaan. Okay, then he ends up blowing up Alderaan anyway. But having said all that, in that film, all you get is a rebel base hiding from the Empire on Yavin 4. And they have 30 maximum fighters, right? X-Wings and stuff. They have no capital ships. Nothing. They're literally just a bunch of X-Wings. And then some ragtag bunch of people. You never get the impression that there's like this huge, galaxy-wide alliance in A New Hope. That does form later on as time goes by. It gets bigger. Okay? But even in Andor, when they show you Yavin, and they show you the extent to which their ships are moving in and out, and equipment's moving in and out, and the amount of people that live there, that's basically what it is in A New Hope. Okay? So all I'm saying is that Andor as a show is stupid and pointless because none of this means anything once you get to A New Hope, which is where Rogue One ends. Mothma herself says the great victory, our first great victory, was getting the plans to the Death Star. They hadn't done anything else. Nothing. But in Andor, she knows about all these jobs and things that Luthen's doing, and there's all this crap. And she's having to pimp her daughter out to get money, to buy stuff, to help Luthen do jobs. There's nothing in Andor that at all would lead to Star Wars A New Hope. It's all fluff. It's all nonsense. It's content to get you to spend your money and sit there. Furthermore, George Lucas said that the rebels were the Viet Cong. They were based on the Viet Cong versus the United States. In the end, the Vietnamese style of fighting and hiding in the trees and ambushing and doing all the things that they did was good for them. But they were vastly outnumbered, vastly outclassed in terms of military capabilities, equipment, and so on. And the empire was based on the U.S. So in what world would there be a situation where the rebels are some galaxy-wide situation and that they got to that point because of the Gorman Massacre and Mon Mothma's big speech? This was all done by Dave Filoni and all done by Disney to retcon the original trilogy because they just keep destroying it. They keep wrecking it. And I would end with this. Empty your mind and sit down and watch Star Wars, the original Star Wars. Don't think about anything else. Don't think about prequels. Don't think about sequels. Don't think about the stupid Filoni retcons and all the garbage he's installed into Star Wars that just wrecks the story and convolutes it and makes it dumb. Just watch it as a singular movie on its own, like so many of us did before anything else came out. What feeling do you get? What is George trying to convey in that movie? He's trying to convey that there's an overarching, tyrannical system controlling the galaxy, and that the odds are incredibly stacked against the rebels. The odds are basically impossible, right? That's the setup. And that a farm boy found a way to get the job done. He went through a journey and He found a way to get the job done. The most unlikely hero, a moisture farmer from a backwater planet. I know Tatooine's in everything now, but that's what it was. It was a backwater planet that nobody cared about. And this farm boy succeeds in destroying the biggest weapon that the Empire had. With only 30 ships, all fighters, no cruisers, no capital ships, no nothing. And if you look at those scenes, there might have been a few thousand people on Yavin. I know the EU expanded it out because, again, they're the same. I'm not saying the EU is all bad, but there are many authors in the EU that were doing the same thing that some of the Disney people are doing now, where they are looking for content, and so they just kind of expand on things. But again, watch A New Hope by itself, take everything else out of your mind, and think about the message George is conveying in that film. Or you can base everything you think about Star Wars on new stuff that's come out in the last 10 years, long after he was done, that features retcons and Filoni-verse and nonsense and Jedi absolutely everywhere and convoluted stupidity that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And this show is pure content. Nothing Mon Mothma does in this show has anything to do with the Rebels whatsoever. It's all just content. And they were going to do 5 seasons of it. And now it's all coming down to Dave Filoni's Mon Mothma from Rebels and his storylines from Rebels that he's going to interweave into all the live action stuff. We're seeing it in Andor. We're going to see it in Ahsoka Season 2. We're going to see it in Mandalorian and Grogu. We're going to see it in his other stupid movie he's making. So do you now understand where I'm coming from? I can't believe how many of these people that comment on my post have never even watched the original trilogy and think that they understand Star Wars. It's mind-boggling. Anyways, let me know in the comment section what you think. If you like this content, please like, subscribe. It helps the channel. Feel free to check it out. Also, my channel. Have yourselves a really good day.